Hello everyone, let's begin. The first thing that I notice, actually I noticed two things off the bat. One, there is a dull sort of squeezing sensation in my left shoulder blade, and two, there's a gentle, I don't know if I'd call it tingly, it's more like there's a light rain that feels like it's happening kind of just out and up from my ear back here. I'd say it's on my temple, but temples are more like here, and this is a little bit far back for that. So where do we want to start? Do we want to start with the shoulder? Do we want to start with the temples? Something about this gentle rain kind of sensation. I'm just going to gently suture. Okay, so a suture of the skull here. We're working with likely our squamous suture of the skull. If you wanted to see that, I'll see if I can pull up an image and put that here. Squamous suture of the skull, and some of the techniques that I have worked with can be associated with different organs in the body. So I'm going to scan my pulse points, and we're going to see what organs in traditional Chinese medicine we are trying to be directed to right now. Something here, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so then we're working with, that could be 3 different options actually. So I'm going to check out adrenal cortex, no, adrenal medulla, no, and then Pericardium Meridian, sex organs, which shows up. Okay, so something going on in our sex organs, something going on in the Pericardium Meridian, so then that would also be a good question. Are we in the pericardium around the heart? So we're in the actual sex organs of the body. And then we can talk about this is an emotional pattern that's happening to do with sex organs, which is usually surrounding something about suppression or repression. So something about suppression or repression is going on here. When you get to the individual pieces and parts of the anatomy, it does expand out into more categories, but when it's a general whole of, the reproductive system, suppression and repression are most common. Yeah. Something about stored emotions trapped within the reproductive system. My hands are getting very hot right now, which is uncommon for my physiology, but I like it. So thanks for the help. Thanks for contributing the energy to me. I could use it. My hands are usually pretty chilly, but right now they feel like they're boiling, and I feel kind of sweaty in very specific areas, which is likely relevant. So let's say sweaty in specific areas. I feel in my forearms to like my elbow to here, like it's from here to here, I feel sweaty, which is interesting. And I feel something kind of similar in my knees, like just above my knees down to about, I don't know, like 4 inches away from my ankles, I feel sweaty. And I feel something in a very specific spot in the small of my back, like a silver dollar size spot in my back feels sweaty. And that's right in the center. I want to bring my attention there first. So let's say vertebral levels, likely. That's pointing me towards a vertebrae so we can get more information. That feels like it's in my lumbar spine. So let's go lumbar vertebrae L1, L2, L3, L4. Something about L3, the L3 vertebrae in the spine. L3 vertebrae in the spine, we're working with something that's going on in terms of the directionality. So let's say I'm just going to use my imagination and push it forward. And that causes us stress, and we're going to use our imagination. We're going to push it back, and that makes it strong. We're also going to go side to side and bending and bending. Okay, so then the vertebrae is stuck anteriorly. That's a stress. You can think of it like if you ever see someone standing and they have that kind of duck butt posture. Let me see if I can show this to you. Where you see someone standing and they do one of these. Yeah, that causes your lumbar spine to push forward. Super common in, well, just about everybody today. It can be from our chronic sitting posture. So, but I also do believe that there is an emotional correlation to do with the way that we're holding our posture today. I would say there's always an emotional correlation to the way that you're holding your posture. By the way, if you're curious, yes, the way that we hold ourselves on a day-to-day basis can be due to the way that we're sitting from, our chronic sitting posture in day-to-day life, as well as our chronic walking posture in day-to-day life. However, let's give you some examples. You can probably picture in your head the way that a depressed person stands, or they do this whole closing the shoulders and head down and looking up from here maybe, but for the most part keeping my eyes down. You can also probably picture the way that an angry person stands, where they jut their shoulders out and they tuck their head down, and they're always looking like this. You can see it in the face too, but you can see it in the posture. You can see it in the way that they're holding their spine. And I would say that's true of roughly every different emotional pattern, and everyone's also going to hold those postures in different ways. But right now we're having sort of a swooping or an anterior pelvic tilt might be a good way to say that, an anterior pelvic tilt as a result of, at least in part, right, how many straws are breaking the camel's back here, how many variables are part of the play, but as a result of, in part, repression and suppression of something going on inside that's being represented by emotions showing up in our reproductive system. So let's dig a little deeper into what that means. I'm still feeling increased sweating, but now it's specifically at the backs of my knees. So something about the backs of my knees is a priority. Oh, back to the knees could be a couple of different things. It's not the gallbladder. We can come back to the adrenals again. Not the adrenals. It feels like I'm about to burp, but I can't quite burp, so energy is like right at the surface. It's about to move through and break through something. Other things in the backs of the knees. Okay, let's say meridians, let's say physical structures, let's say something energetic, so then the knee chakras. Knee chakras typically have to do with our parents and our ancestry. So this is an ancestral pattern that we're working with, which makes a ton of sense today, right? What are our parents and their grandparents like? I would say emotional suppression central, right? And that's something that we inherit, and it's our job while we're here in this lifetime, while we're here in this blessed lifetime, to be able to move through and start to feel like it's safe to be our authentic selves, because we live in a time period where we have the opportunity to do so, but we must seize the opportunity. We must walk forward. We must be the cosmic fool, take the leap of faith, and be brave, and continue to let go of all of that which is in the way of this. And right now, what is in the way of this as a priority is an ancestral pattern for me and for you and for likely other people that we might be touching with our cosmic tentacles as we walk through our day-to-day lives and creating the change that we create by being a source of presence in the world. Eckhart Tolle will talk about that as well. Your presence inspires more presence, and I would say that's a result of your biofield and all the work that you do on the inside, all the internal work, all the internal change you've done on the inside is reflected by the emissions, the sounds, and the electromagnetic impulses and the spin torsion waves that are given off by your presence, by your consciousness, by your biofield, which facilitates the potential for change, transformation, and healing in all the people who you interact with, and from there it branches and expands out, right? We are facilitators, and we provide the opportunity for people to experience change, but it is always up to them to make the choice to change. Yeah? So something about an ancestral pattern to do with suppression and repression. Do we need to know more? Let's say, how many generations back does this go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 generations back seems to be where we're focusing at right now. 12 generations back. Every generation is roughly 26 years. Someone say 24, some say 26, but roughly 26 years. So let's bring that down to 25, and then we do 25 times 12, which is 250 plus 50 is going to be about 300 years ago, something that happened about 300 years ago. Right now we're in 2026. That's the thing that's hard for me to remember here. Yeah. Right now we're in roughly 2026, so let's say 1726, somewhere around there, somewhere around the 1700s. Yeah. So then let's say Industrial Revolution time, potentially. That's also like right before America got settled, so that would be in a time period where like we're not quite ready to move away from, and obviously you could be watching this from any country, but whatever's going on in the collective unconscious is affecting everyone on the planet at once. Yeah. So there's a subset of culture that's getting ready to break away from what felt like repression to them at the time, what was experienced as repression to them at the time, but they weren't quite ready yet, repression from an outside source. And usually what we're feeling on the inside is reflected by the experience that we have on the outside. Yeah? So this repression on the inside, this suppression on the inside is being seen on the outside as all this actual physical suppression of you have to be this kind of person, and you have to stay here, and you have to follow the rules of the things that the monarch says we have to do, and blah, 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 all that stuff, you know. So right now we're likely working with a pattern of looking to branch out, looking to break away, but not quite there yet. We are just prior to the outburst, to the To the bottle breaking from there being too much pressure buildup inside a soda bottle right now, and we're shaking the bottle and it's about to burst, but we're not quite there. That's the suppression and repression pattern that we're working with here. And when it was released, it wasn't necessarily released in the healthiest way. Let's be honest, right? Violence is not the healthiest way to release your emotions. Yes, you can get some cathartic boom expansion and release out of it, but it's not you processing your emotions by any means. So we're still stuck with these things inside from our ancestors roughly 300 years ago. And it's up to us to say, can I transmute this? Can I feel this? Can I process this? Can I let this out so that then I can utilize all of that trapped energy that's within my ancestry, that's being bundled up and stored in my DNA, and all of my internal processes are being utilized to find the best way to integrate this suppression and repression in my life. Instead, if I were to feel and release that suppression and repression, what could I then use that energy for in my life? I can't answer that for you, but let's find out together by saying, is there anything more that we need to know? So we're ready to release this pattern at this moment in time. Let's see here. So then let's do a little bit of fishing. This is from my mentor, Jimmy. I'll leave a link to his YouTube channel down below in the description box. He's a good old boy. He has invented something that he calls My Liquid Fish, and I find it's a very good pattern of working with global energy patterns so that we can get and address specific questions. Yeah. But in this case, I'm just going to make sure we've learned everything that we need to from this. That's good. This still serves us in some way, but you can't have it both ways, my friend. You can't have it that I've learned everything that I need to from this, and it still serves me in some way. So then there's something that's blocking us, so we're blocked by how much? Blocked by, do we need to know? 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 20 to 25, 25 to 30, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30% blocked. Let's bring that blockage down. All the way down to the center of the planet here. Bloop. And then that's a Ewan method correlation. Blockages to infinity less than 0 here. No blockages are present at this moment in time. Any knowns or unknowns, perfect. So then let's say we're ready to release this pattern at this time. So let's engage triple heater 2 in this situation. Triple heater 2 is a point along the triple heater meridian that is about creating flow within the energetic systems of the body. It is primarily used as a drainage point when physically needled by an acupuncturist for swelling in the head and neck, but it is also about bringing chatter, bringing mental fire from its compression and its overactivity in the mind to a place where it can spread to all corners of the body, mind, and spirit, where it can be utilized and flow through all of the different avenues, all the different aqueducts that are available in the body. And in this case, we should be able to utilize this point as an analogy to be able to get this energy to flow to all corners of the body, mind, and spirit so that we can come to release this pattern. Take a big breath. I'm going to wait for things to just settle and slow down here. That felt significant. And the base of my neck pops. That's nice. Pericardium Meridian can be associated with the base of the neck. T1, C7, T2, around those vertebrae. Right now this is an older pattern, and it was primarily to do with the sex organs, but they still run through those same meridians, so they'll still run through those same vertebral levels as well. Oh, and there goes, okay, so my low back feels like it wants to round out the other way now, like a C shape, that way, which is kind of the opposite of anterior pelvic tilt, and that waves up. Nice. Very nice. Okay, we come back and we recheck. Pericardium Meridian, no longer a stress. Let's check out you show us a yes? Can you show us a no? Is there any other way that I may be of service to the collective on this day? Wonderful. I believe that's all that I have for you. I hope that that was beneficial for you. If you need anything from me, I leave my email in the description link below every video. You can also come to see me in the clinic in Florida if you like. And yeah, this was fun. Appreciate you. You take care. I'll see you next time.